as a youth climate leader, it's really important for us to inspire and affect change, both by acting ourselves, but also mobilizing the rest of the community. Because what I've learned, especially with the EYLN and working with my green team, is that you really can't do it alone. I'm Maya Shu. I'm a current senior at Crystal Springs Upland School. My environmental story started in 6th grade when I was still living in Hong Kong. We actually moved to the Bay Area in 9th grade. And I watched this documentary called The Plastic Ocean, which really opened my eyes to the environmental issues, especially plastic pollution, of course, that are surrounding our planet right now. And since then, I've sort of been trying to work towards increasing environmental awareness and impact in my community, both in Hong Kong and especially in San Mateo County when I moved here. When I got here in 9th grade, we actually didn't have an environmental club. There had been one a few years back at the high school, but when all of the seniors graduated, it sort of fizzled out and there hadn't been much of a student-led or admin-led environmental movement since then. Starting in 9th grade through events like documentary showings where I actually got to show a plastic ocean for our very first showing. So it sort of came full circle and I was really glad that everyone got to see it. But starting with documentary showings, and we did a lot of waste audits before the pandemic hit, trying to see with the help of Recology, how we were doing with our community awareness of how our community is doing with waste sorting awareness and whether we're sorting our food trash properly. Spoiler alert, we were not, but we really have improved it since then by introducing more of an effective tri-bin system and raising awareness among the student body. We also tried to start a petition last year, which didn't entirely go through. But we've also been trying to do some more fun activities like leading nature walks, and we showed Wall-E this semester instead of a normal documentary. But basically our main goal has been to raise awareness among the student body and the administrative team. And I think we have achieved that. I'm a little concerned about whether we have done enough to promote a passion for activism in our community, because while there's awareness, I don't know whether our legacy will be carried on as much, but I'm really hopeful that we have been able to do so. We also reinstated the Crystal Garden and other sustainable practices on campus, which will hopefully help lower the school's carbon footprint in the long run. And we also won 2 One Planet School Awards for our work, which was amazing. It was great to receive that recognition for the impact we've had. I mean, sometimes it just feels so hard when it feels like you're one person who's trying to make that impact on a global issue. But then especially when I attend like the summits or work with my team during clubs periods, it really feels great to have that community who's working toward the same goals. So it's just so important that you build up that network of people who are also passionate and willing to make a difference along with you. And as far as being a youth climate leader, it's also really important to realize that we are the next generation who's going to be the most affected by climate change, even more than we already are. I mean, drought season in California has already started, and I think 30% of California's population is now under drought emergency, which is crazy. But what's really important is that we both try to influence current adults in power to do their part, but we also have to make sure that we steel ourselves to live through and mitigate the worsened effects of climate change as we get older. I joined the Environmental Youth Leadership Network in 9th grade, which I believe was when it was actually first started. We went to like their first ever summit in fall 2017 or winter 2018, not 100% sure. But in 10th grade over the summer, I was looking for something to do with all the time that I had that I was hoping I could help make an impact. And I'm also really interested in environmental education. That's actually what I'm doing my senior capstone project on right now. So I was hoping to find some sort of experience, hopefully to do with more of like a work-based experience that would help me get into that. So because I knew Andrea through the EYLN, I reached out to her and asked if I could intern for her, and she said yes. So I interned for her for 2 weeks in summer after 10th grade and 11th grade, one in person, one virtual. And I actually ended up working mostly with the Climate Core Fellows. And yeah, so I guess those are the people who are mostly involved with my journey, although I had a lot of interactions with a lot of the LC team when I was actually in the office. This year, not as much so because it was really difficult over Zoom, but it was still a really meaningful experience. It was great to see what happened behind the scenes at LC, and it was also super cool that I got to draft some educational materials myself. I know a couple of the highlights for me were in 10th grade, I got to draft like a drought simulation, which was sort of like this, I think it was called the game of drought, which was really fun to test out with all the teachers at the conferences. And it was also awesome to network with the SMCOE team and other people that I met there. Sort of connected, but at one of the LC teacher conferences, I actually met Brittany, who was working at Environmental Volunteers, and it turned out that a couple weeks later, I had signed up to start volunteering with Environmental Volunteers that summer, but it was great to have that connection with her beforehand. And I'm actually doing my senior project with them right now, so it's really cool how all of that sort of came full circle. And I feel like the internships that I did with Elsie really did give me a chance to apply the knowledge and skills that I'd gained from high school and beyond in a workplace setting, but also working toward a goal I was passionate about in educating the community, especially kids, about the climate crisis. Being a part of the EYLN, which was like sponsored by the LC, it helped me meet with other environmental leaders, and it helped us try to coordinate like different activities to do together to sort of connect our schools and raising awareness for our common cause. So I believe what we ended up doing was we had pre-COVID, we had a documentary showing of Cowspiracy. I would have to check on that. But students from other schools came to Crystal campus and all watched it together and had a conversation afterwards with pizza. So I wasn't able to be there, but I did organize it. And it was great to hear afterwards, like how meaningful that had been. We also coordinated with other leaders to get some kids to the youth climate strikes that happened before the pandemic hit, which was really great. And yeah, I mean, once the pandemic hit, it was definitely difficult to try and coordinate things with the other leaders, but I am really grateful for the connections we made, especially like the ideas that we've shared at the summits in the past. It's just been so inspirational to hear from them about the work they've been doing in their community. And I'm trying to think about with Green Team. I think I talked about the work with Green Team as well, but I guess with Environmental Volunteers, when I joined them originally as an eco docent before the pandemic hit, once or twice a month, I was going to their eco center down in Palo Alto and acting as a docent for visitors that would come through. So I would help set up the activities for the kids, like a migration map or all of their amazing bird mounts. And when the kids came in with their families, I would help them with the activities and try to educate them about the baylands and the salt marshes and all the different California species that were in the area. So that was really fun. And when the pandemic hit, I started helping them transition to a more virtual setting, which made it more accessible to everyone who wanted to participate. And then this past weekend, I had a nature poetry workshop for 3rd through 5th graders, which was really, really fun. I'll be attending Stanford University in the fall, and I'm really excited to continue affecting change there. In my time at Crystal, I have mostly focused on sustainability efforts like the waste sorting and increasing awareness, but I'm hopeful that at Stanford, because they already have such a great network for that, maybe I'll be able to branch out into stuff that I'm really passionate about, like ecological conservation. I'm really hopeful to do research at their Jasper Ridge Biological Preserve. It sounds like an amazing opportunity to do that. And they also have this program where if you take the class there, you can be a docent at the preserve. So that sounds really, really cool. And otherwise, yeah, because I'll be in the area, I'm hopeful that I can still volunteer with Environmental Volunteers because they're like a 10-minute drive away from campus. And right now, there has been new leadership who stepped up for Green Team at Crystal. We are still helping them with the transition because with the pandemic, it was a little bit rough. They were freshmen, so they just joined this year. So we're going to continue helping them transition into that role. And hopefully they'll be able to continue some of the initiatives that we have. So there's one part of our club, not me, a few other students who've been trying to get Crystal to divest from fossil fuels. And we're also hopeful that we'll be able to get admin to sort of integrate sustainability into their set of core values, especially since we've also sent this, I think we actually received this from the EYLN a year ago, and then somehow it just kept getting pushed back, we sent a resolution to student government, and they're going to sign it to show their commitment to sustainability on campus. Make sure you remember what you're fighting for, because for me, I sort of refuel and take my inspiration from nature. A plastic ocean aside, what really inspired me to start being an activist when I was back in Hong Kong was because I lived in this weird paradox of an urban jungle that was next to all this beautiful actual jungle with exotic birds and beautiful ocean. And it was just this magical jungle right on the outskirts of all these concrete skyscrapers. And I was always wondering, like, would there be a way for humans to coexist with all of the animals that were already here? Because it seems to me like, especially in Hong Kong, a lot of the animals had adapted to work with humans, but we hadn't made as much of an effort. So, and then coming to the Bay Area, which is such a hub for environmental change, it was so refreshing to see all of the effort that was being made. So when I feel discouraged, that was also why I hosted the nature poetry workshop. I was hoping to inspire the kids who attended to take their inspiration from nature and remember that, like, there's so many ways that you can be an activist, but you could also do it through like pen and paper. You don't necessarily have to use your literal voice, because your writer's voice is just as important. So I wanted to show them there's like many different ways of being an activist. Use your voice in the way that you feel most comfortable and strong, and remember what you're fighting for. Remember that change is slow. If change isn't happening right away, make sure that you take your time and think about like all of the steps that have to take place in order for you to reach like a larger end goal. Just go for it. I mean, the people at the SMCOE, they're so sweet and so willing to help, and everyone is working towards a common goal. So do not be afraid to reach out, go for it. And also what I found in the past was that the internship can really be what you make it as well, because when I was working with the Climate Corps Fellows before, they were always asking me what I was really interested in exploring. And while I was helping them develop general materials, I was also able to pursue passions of my own. So make sure you tailor that experience to the impact that you really want to make, and really enjoy it, because I only did it for a couple weeks in 2 summers, but I really felt like it was a really transformative experience for me. So even if you do it for like a month or you continue doing it throughout the school year, just really enjoy the experience and soak up everything you can.